What's up, guys? I'm over here with Evil, one of my favorite all-time players for sure. Definitely a true standout all-star. And it looks like you guys are having some fun up there with these picks. How are you feeling about your draft so far?
I like my draft. I think that because I picked up two players that are on the same team, or that were on the same team, they actually have a general idea of how to play together. And I've actually also played with Cause, like just in solo queue matches or duo queue matches. And I think with my draft, it's more along the lines of I want to figure out just shot calling and to figure out like just team coordination, team synergy. And with Chuck and with Cause, I feel like I have that. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it's pretty exciting. You have a strong draft thus far. Do you think your playstyle personally changes at all?
I don't think my playstyle changes much because, at least for me, when I support, I'm able to play either passive or aggressive. It's just a matter of figuring out if you win a trade or don't win a trade or what's the objective on the map. It's pretty much just figuring out what you need to do and then adjusting your playstyle for that. So it shouldn't be that like much of a challenge or anything.
And like in regard to these other guys, like I actually think like okay, you have a strong draft. They're putting together some pretty strong lineups as well. Do you, as far as like if you had to rank them thus far, would you put anybody ahead?
I think the only person that, or the only captain that is really like, I felt like they were actually like really ahead, or not really ahead, but they have the potential to just completely dismantle everybody. Is probably Hammy's team because like Lulu, honestly, he's probably one of the best players in North America. I think that he's deserved to be in the top 3 of these ranked players. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he doesn't have to really worry about picking up a support that much because we already have 2 supports as captains. So it makes it a lot easier for him to just pick up carries, and then he doesn't really have to focus on what they're going to do because he knows that they're going to succeed. So he just has to play his own game, which makes it really easy to win.
I think that's really smart. That might be like my strategy coming into it. But is there a player on here that you're like, I really want to round this lineup out? What is that one player you're looking for?
Well, the thing is I need a really strong bot laner, and the thing is that with all these players, there's not like that many like super carry bot laners. Like the ones that were already up have been picked, which is why I was going to pick Lulu first, is because of that. So I think that there's a couple that I like to keep my eyes on for. Yeah.
Couple in the air.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not totally sure, but he's ready to finish this lineup. Right now, let's go ahead and send it back over to Munchables. Keep this train rolling.
All right, there are only 10 seconds on the clock, so I'm going to pass it straight over to you, Gabe.
I'm going to pick Shaded.
All right, quick.
Okay.
Oh, so Shaded Talent.
There we go.
What is your team? All right, it's okay.
All right,
No, but my reasoning.
Shaded.
I'll back up.
All right, so Shaded Talent going to be locked in. That means starting, you are now on the clock. Gabe, talk to me about that pick.
So I'm debating about either benching him or possibly putting him into the captain role, and then I play in top lane because I've had history of playing only for like what, a week playing in top lane, and then I switch back to captain. But I'm looking at the list, and there are good top laners. I'd much prefer to get Yugi, but since I don't have Yugi, I could possibly move over there. But it's still like something to think about for sure.
I mean, what do you guys think about Shaded Talent being taken off the table? Because I know that that's someone you guys would have been having your eyes up.
I was gonna pick him after he chose his pick, but I don't know. I have to rethink everything.
I think, you know, it feels kind of nice because, you know, he's kind of forced into picking that, you know, Shaded, because, you know, if I get him, it's just like, my roster's already stacked and we have a good support. So, you know, it's a pretty good pick on Gabe's part, but I still have some backup plans for support, so I'm not too worried.
That's one of the week 1 winners as well. Bear in mind, Shaded Talent with a win under his belt. So that's 2 out of the 4 available week 1 winners, aside from obviously Hammy himself. Now, starting all over, you still got 4 minutes on the clock. You mentioned that you were looking towards Shaded Talent before he was taken off the board. Is captain still a role you're eyeing up right now?
I think I'm gonna sub out Eddie from top lane to support, since like there's no other good supports here except Shaded and Shaded. And then these 2 guys play the captain support or the captain role, and I just don't know what to pick at this point. They like ruined my whole draft, and I have no plans coming into this one.
All right, well,
It's a little blank.
you got 3.5 minutes to think about that one. Hammy, what about you? Because I know you were eyeing up Shaded as well. He's your teammate currently, so It's got to hurt having him taken away.
Yeah, you know, I was, like I said, planning on getting him, but, you know, Gabe knew that. I mean, so he had to take him away. But, you know, like I said, I have backup plans for supports that I can pick. So, like, yeah, I'm just not worried at all, really.
I wonder actually, like, how does that change up how you might actually draft the heroes in the game? If you don't have a super strong captain that you can rely on,
Yeah.
are there going to be certain picks that you might find yourself going to?
I mean, I kind of play whatever pick I feel like I can do, like, that I'm practicing at the moment, because I try to focus on 1 or 2 heroes at once.
Yeah.
And so I don't really care necessarily what support I have. I'll still play those heroes that I'm comfortable on.
So it's not necessarily like
Yeah.
it's got synergy with this, I'm going to
Yeah.
pick it. It's just like,
Yeah.
this is
I play this
makes
and-
sense in the game and I'm comfortable on.
Yeah, for sure.
One trick.
All right, we'll see. I mean,
Works.
is that something for your teammates though? Like, if one of your teammates isn't as strong, are you going to pick something for them, or just let them go for a goofy pick as
So
well?
basically, you know, with these players that I have, you know, I'm just like like you were saying, I'm just gonna let them play their own game. You know, I'm not gonna stop them from doing anything. I'm just gonna let them play how they normally play. So if they want to pick, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, say no. Like, if you want this, I'll give it to you. So that's just kind of how I'm gonna draft it on my team.
All right, well, we'll see how that's going to go down. We can take a look at the roster so far for starting all over, as it's going to be his pick in just a minute. And so far, it's been looking pretty good for him. He managed to pick up Delphi, and he managed to pick up Love Darling. Love Darling previously called Ediel, both of them teammates on Nova Sports, or Nova Esports, sorry. So definitely looking good so far. The thing is, though, I feel like you're starting to run out of teammates at this point. You're probably going to have to branch out a little bit.
The strategy's done.
Yeah. So where are you leaning towards now when we look at the rest of the table? Because we're starting to run out of the top 8 picks as well. Do you have to start branching further into that pool?
I'm still leaning towards like the left side, which is like Neon Fire and Gatsby, and like moving again Eddie to the support role, since I just don't know anyone in here that plays support better than Shaded and Eddie. Everyone's trash, in my opinion. So it's just like Neon, Gatsby, and I don't know. That's it.
What
Yeah.
makes someone trash starting? Let's get real here for a second.
Yeah.
Like, you throw this out quite often. Does that mean that they're just not top tier, or like you literally feel like this
They're like
player
literally trash.
can't compete? At what point does a player go from trash to like decent player?
It's like top 3, in my opinion.
You have to be top
You have to
3
be
to
top
not be
3.
trash.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so
High expectations.
not like a common definition of trash, but it's nice that we break it down there so we can understand a little
All
bit.
right,
You're like-
well, there are 40 seconds left on your timer, so if you're ready, we should get your pick locked in.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Gatsby here. I know him as a player, and I think he'll be okay in top lane.
Okay.
Gatsby, man, how can you go wrong with
Yikes for
Gatsby?
me, dog.
The Gaspinator.
There you go. He's locked in.
All right, so Gatsby is the 3rd pick. That means Hammy, you're on the clock once again. Start to peruse that list. Starting high praise coming from you there as you lock him in. You think he'll be okay? Is he one of the top 3? Is he trash?
He's not trash. He's okay. Like, I have to clarify myself here. Trash and okay are like 2 different things. Gatsby is a okay top laner. He's like in the category of top 4 to 4.
Top 4 to 4.
What do you think? What do you think Gatsby does well? Like, if you could say Gatsby does these couple of things well that makes him okay, what are those couple of things?
He's like, his playstyle, he's like unpredictable. You can never know what he's going to do next, and that makes him okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's fair enough. Locked in. Likes to play Reza as well, which definitely a hero that can win games individually. So excited to see
Absolutely.
what he's going to be able to bring to the table. Now, Evol, feels like eons since I spoke to you. Where are you looking at right now? Because we're starting to run out of the top players. When we come to this middle row, who are the guys that jump out at you?
Well, when I'm thinking about my own draft and my own team right now, I have to take into account that there's like 2 top laners left, or there's like 1 that I know, and then there's like 2 bot laners that I know. So I just have to decide on which one I think is more important, like in the game itself. So once I figure that out, which I'm fairly certain I know what I'm going to do, but it's just a matter of like process of elimination, and then I'll be able to choose my player.
So you have it in mind, but you don't want to reveal too much before the clock's ticking for you, right?
Well, it's because I'm like cut between 2 players right now, and one player I might get it's like a hit or miss player. So if I choose that person, then it's kind of like me choosing Chuck. It's like, well, you're probably gonna lose. But Yeah.
Poor choice.
I'm just in a predicament right now.
All right, well, we actually have people getting involved on Twitter once again. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Karina. I believe
Thank
you have a
you,
question
Joe.
for us.
Yes, AdaptGG is wondering, who is the best Lance in the world?
This isn't even a question.
Dark potato, right?
Dark bit. What?
We can't bring EU into this.
Yeah, don't bring EU.
I thought I'd throw him a little low.
Yeah, no.
All right, so you say it's not a question. Tell us the answer.
Evil wants to say.
It's. I mean,
He wants to say it
it's
already.
obviously me. Like, why wouldn't it be me? If you check any game leading up to even in 3v3, like when we were going through our run with Worlds and we were playing against Cloud9, Tribe, all these good teams, there were a lot of times, even with Hammy was like, when we were doing draft prep, he was like, oh, I don't know about this Lance pick, and I was just sitting there. I was like, give me Lance, I'll win this game. Like, and we would get Lance, and I would roll. So.
Combat roll?
No pun intended.
No pun intended. I would literally just roll everybody, and so it just became like this. Yeah, I am the best.
So what is it that separates you from the crowd? Because we've got guys like Gabe Vizzle, guys like Flash X that also have played a ton of Lance.
You gave an example earlier, like
Yeah.
specifically.
Well, for one thing is that I think that I've actually mastered Lance to the point where I'm able to kill carries. Like I already talked about how when we were scrimming against Nova, I 1v2'd starting and Truth on their like most played carry heroes, and I was playing top Lance, and it's.
You're playing
Who
a
does
hero
that?
that's unkillable.
Huh?
You're playing a hero that's unkillable.
Yeah, but you're playing the carry. Like that's.
Wait, aren't
that's
you supposed to be the
sad.
best in the world and you're making excuses?
Yeah, and wait. Let me go back to something. You said that everybody that wasn't top 3 is trash, but you're not even top 3. So what does that make you?
But you're not even in a team.
Well, that's fine. But the thing is, though, is that you know about traveling. I heard that you kind of can't do that, and I actually heard that there are some players that couldn't join your team because you couldn't travel.
I mean, he made it here.
That's true, but internationally.
And we're glad to have him.
We certainly are. All right, I'm gonna. We'll revisit this conversation. We'll revisit this in a minute, but I'm gonna pass it over to you, Hammy.
Yep.
You've got a minute left on the clock. Talk to me about the thought process here. Where are you going?
All right, so right now I'm looking to probably secure. I don't have to worry about supports at all now, so no one else really needs a support. So I don't really need to pick one. Right now I'm just trying to focus on junglers, so I'm kind of shifting between either picking up Papa John, because that is Yugi's teammate, so they already have that synergy. So I don't have to worry, it's just one less person I have to worry about. Like, he does, he plays like all the annoying picks, so like if I just get him on an annoying pick, then that's him and Yugi both being annoying, so that's good for me. I could also pick like Archaic. He's also a pretty good jungler. I've teamed with him before, way back in the day when I was, my IGN was actually Hanuel. And I played with him and Afrogum before, so yeah, I've experience with him as well, so.
All right. Well, you have 15 seconds on the clock, so it's about time you get locked in.
All right, I'm gonna take Archaic.
Knew it.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
You did a circle on that one.
That's not a bad pick.
Yeah.
You went from
That's a good pick.
Archaic.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick.
Okay, for Hammy.
Wrong side. There we
Archaic.
go. Okay.
That is a really solid lineup thus far. Like you have solid players in every position, but you talked about like, them being able to do their own thing. Does that mean?
Well, also like I know Archaic, so it's just like I don't necessarily know like Yugi or Lulu that well, but I know Archaic, so that's one person that I feel like I'm already comfortable with, and he's playing that jungle role, so I'm gonna be interacting with him a lot. I'm gonna be interacting with him a lot more than I will be with Lulu or Pico. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
So you're feeling like you're almost going to have like 2 separate units within a game, where it's like you and Archaic and maybe another teammate working together, and then the other guys kind of just go off and do what they want.
Yeah, I mean I think it'll work. Like if we have 3 really good mechanical heroes, so I mean not mechanical heroes, mechanical players. So like we'll just win all the lanes, and you can't really lose a game if you're winning all the lanes.
All right. Well,
You can. It's a possibility.
you can if you try hard enough.
If
There's
you
always a
throw
way.
hard enough.
True.
Now, Gabe, I want to come over and talk to you for a second while Evol's on the clock here, because Evol had mentioned, we've had this discussion about Lance, right? And I just want to add one final note here, because when we were talking about Lance earlier on before broadcast, you mentioned another name that could come into the mix.
Yeah, I would definitely say that Evil is top 3. No, actually,
Top 5.
top 5 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not,
We didn't get a
not
close-up
in a
on the
bad
face.
way. I mean that there's a lot of good supports that play Lance really well. I'd probably say Willie is. I think Willie back in 2016 Worlds is probably like the craziest Lance that I've seen, and then Skosa as well. So Skosa is a really good Lance as well, and then Evol. And then I'll probably put
Max.
yeah, Chicken. Yeah, Chicken was a
Chicken
really good
was
Lance
good.
too.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. There's a lot of good people that play Lance.
So just for context for anyone at home that doesn't know Scosa and Willie, both players from the East Asia region and a strong region in its own right. But I mean, what do you say to that? What puts you above the rest of the Lancers, Evil?
Well, he was talking about Willie, and Willie doesn't play anymore. I mean, yeah, at the time, yes, he was the best Lance in the world, but that at the same, like, in terms of pro players, he fell off. He completely fell off. And he was only known for his Lance, but once other players realized how to play, like I already knew how to play Lance, but I wasn't in the pro scene. When everybody realized how to play Lance, he kind of just like, what other support heroes does he play? Like, the only one that you know him for is Lance, and so I don't know. I mean, if Gabe does say I'm top 3, that's fine because apparently that means that I'm not trash. So whatever.
Are we talking about
not
top
by
3
my
support
standards.
Lance?
That's my starting standards.
I kind of talking about support Lance, but are there other people in the picture
I mean,
outside of just support?
I only remember Delphi playing jungle Lance and Samuel his whole entire career on
The
2017.
Delphi Lance is
Oh,
the
Delphi
only time
talked to me
I've
as Lance.
broken like the audio system in a studio. Like when I was casting, Delphi had like this he like gets 1 kill. There's 3 people chasing him.
Yeah.
Gets 1 kill.
Oh, yeah,
turns
that was-
around,
he was an
that
artist against
behind
us.
the
and
man.
impale into like a Githian wall, kills them both, and I just like popped the mic, just went crazy. So.
All right, well, we'll see if any mic breaking moments are going to
Yeah,
happen in
I
this
hope
tournament. I hope so, definitely hope so. So you have 2 minutes left on the clock. Eve, also get those cogs whirring because you're starting to run out of time. So far then, gentlemen, how are we feeling about how things are? Because you guys, you've got your first 3 picks locked in. Are you feeling confident looking at the other rosters right now?
I mean, I basically got the roster I planned before going into this, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
I think Gabe's team's pretty stacked.
Yeah, same.
So you're happy with how it's going so far, Gabe?
Yeah, I mean, looking at Evol's team, like I don't even think Kaz plays anymore, so that was kind of a bad first pick in my opinion.
Chuck's Chuck.
Chuck is Chuck. Yeah, I mean Chuck will be consistent. He won't die in mid lane,
Well,
that's for sure.
the thing is, though, is I mean, even Hammy talked about Chuck's ego. He never wants to lose a match. So if I force him to play, he's gonna be like, "Crap, I have to step up," and there we go.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. But yeah, your last pick or your next pick is gonna be pretty hard.
questionable.
It is
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
It's gonna be a hard pick
Yep.
for sure.
All right, well, speaking of, you are under a minute now, so if you're ready, you can lock in that pick.
Yep. Okay. So like I said, there's 2 people that I'm debating right now, and just because of the Twitter video, I'm gonna have to go with Outplayed or Louis Vuitton Don.
Nice.
All right.
What you got?
Outplayed.
Chuck and Louis.
Your
Mean
third
team.
pick for Evil.
Does he play with those glasses on?
All right.
I'd probably.
Who is on?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I like to
Who
see it.
knows? So Outplayed going to be locked on in, which means that's going to be the end of our 3rd round of picks. Now, if you guys at home have been seeing the guys that are being locked in here, and you want to get involved in yourselves, you're seeing these players and thinking, I'm better than him, get involved. Sign up right now. If you head over to @Vainglory Esports on Twitter, you can sign up yourselves and maybe be part of Tribe Week, which is going to be happening on November the 17th and 18th. So a little bit of a break in between week 2 and 3, and then we'll be jumping straight back on into the action. So make sure you guys at home are signing on up, getting involved in the action. We want to see fresh meat here in the pool.
Yeah, well, we definitely want to see some fresh faces, but of course, it's a little more trash to talk as well.
Yeah, there's certainly more trash to talk. We'll be getting back to this in a minute, just after this word from Razor. All right, well, while the players have a little bit of a break, me and Humanist are going to break down what's happening for you guys at home. There are giveaways happening across the course of the weekend. All you have to do is watch and you can win. 25,000 ice being given away every single weekend, 5,000 per giveaway. We're giving away $500 in gift cards, and we're also giving away a whole bunch of Vainglory swag. So make sure you're keeping your eyes peeled on the chat, and you might be able to win yourself some prizes. And I believe there's a giveaway happening right now in the chat. Make sure, if you're on Twitch, get involved in that giveaway. We're giving away some plushies, some t-shirts, some bags. Make sure that you're getting involved.
Get involved. I mean, if I got that ice, I think I just basically retire. Like, that's a lot of ice.
I don't know how much food you can buy with ice.
I don't know. I mean, I heard that, there's a market for it.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Secondhand ice, get a resale.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're giving away merch in the chat, so make sure that you're getting involved. Well, let's have a bit of a recap, Humanist, on
Let's do it.
how today has been going so far, because we've got 3 players now locked in for each of our captains, and we've got pretty different strategies coming out from each of our captains, especially Hammy.
Yeah, I think Hammy really got a lot of the players that people had their eyes on. And it's kind of interesting being in that third slot, like third and then second when it starts to snake back the other way. It's almost like this unassuming position to be in. But he got Lulu. Everybody talking about Lulu's incredible ability to make plays in his own lane. Yugi, everyone talking about him being the annoying player. And now Archaic rounds it out. Like, this is a super strong lineup. I really like Gabe's draft as well.
Yeah, I think when you look at Gabe's draft, it's like Hammy and Gabe have gone complete opposite styles here, because obviously you mentioned Hammy, lots of individual power players, but 12, 14, and 21 on the rankings, so not like your classic guys that are on the major teams. Whereas when you look at Gabe, he's got old school, he's got TiVo, he's got shaded talent. These are the guys that are high up in the rankings, and you expect big plays.
Which is like, with Gabe specifically, is the really interesting choice of him deciding to take shaded talent to almost like just take it off the board. It's this deny pick. It's like very cerebral draft strategy, and it's really cool. Like, maybe he ends up playing shaded talent, maybe not. It depends on the rest of the players that get picked, but I think it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's worth mentioning, we've got basically Nova Esports being drafted by starting all over, getting Delphi, getting Ediol as well for the top lane. Does have to go with Gatsby in the end. He kind of ran out of teammates, but
don't say it like that, right? Like, I get your point, but you got to keep it positive and upbeat for Gatsby. Gatsby's one of the coolest, nicest dudes out there. Yeah,
I think Gatsby really proved himself in week number 1. I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table. He bumped up the rankings a lot. I think he was like 14th in week 1. Now
where's he at now? Yeah, 8th.
He's 8th coming into week 2. If he can win this week as well, he's going to be soaring higher and higher on those rankings. So I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to the table. Another thing to mention when it comes into the games tomorrow is the fact that Inara is now playable for our guys. So that is going to be part of the draft. And that means that we could have a spanner in the works for some of these guys coming on in. I know these guys individually haven't practiced Inara that much, so it could be...
And nobody's talked about it either. So you wonder, like, maybe you got that jungler who you were like, he's that rock-solid jungler, but they haven't played the Inara, right? So that could be like a wild card thing.
Big pocket pick.
Yeah, if it gets through.
If it gets through, we'll have to see. Now, if you guys at home haven't played Inara yet, haven't seen what's going on, we have a teaser just to tell you a little bit about the hero.
Hey, this is Ciderhelm, and welcome to the Vainglory Hero Spotlight. Today we'll be looking at Inara, a dual-wielding forest warrior who thrives in the jungle. Inara is most at home while hunting in the jungle. With her trusty spirit companions to keep a watchful eye, she's able to assert her dominance through her superior knowledge and agility. Inara's perk, Sacred Grove, gives her unique ways to interact with treants. First, as she travels through the jungle, spirit companions will mark the location of any nearby treants, granting her vision in their area. Second, she can leap over walls to attack treants from a distance. Finally, upon killing a treant, she gains a burst of movement speed. Sacred Grove makes her a terrifying foe in the jungle and makes her one of the best for stealing away enemy camps. Take a stroll to see which treants are available, or maybe even catch the unsuspecting enemy jungler for a free kill. Inara's first ability, Dance of Leaves, deals damage to all enemies around her and provides a sizable slow to enemies that it hits. On Overdrive, the energy cost is reduced to 0. Since this is her primary damaging ability, I recommend taking this ability first and maxing it as soon as possible. Inara's Banishing Kick delivers a powerful blow that sends her backwards while also knocking back all enemies in front of her. Any enemy that collides with a wall will also be stunned. Additionally, any enemy hit with Banishing Kick will also be marked with a Companion Spirit. Just like Treant's, this companion spirit grants vision and allows her to jump to the target with a basic attack. This skill can also be used as a way to cross over walls. Just cast the ability in the opposite direction and Inara will flip over the wall with ease. When Inara activates her ultimate, Nature's Wrath, she grants all nearby allies a large movement speed boost. If she reactivates the ability, she'll perform a dash that deals damage to every enemy that she passes through. This ability is fantastic when initiating a team fight. Use the movement speed to get her allies to position and then dash into the enemy team to start causing chaos. Here, Inara seeks a gank opportunity on the overextended enemy Ringo. The moment that she reaches the bottom lane, she activates Nature's Wrath and rushes out of the brush. Ringo tries to run, but there's no chance of him outrunning the speedy fawn. She quickly closes the gap and reactivates the ultimate to dash past him. Then she activates Banishing Kick, sending Ringo towards Scarf before leaping to him and finishing him off with Dance of Leaves. Inara's approach might not have been very stealthy, but her overwhelming movement speed boost was all that she needed to ensure the kill on Ringo. Inara is most at home in the jungle, whether in allied or enemy territory. In this clip, she decides to take a look and see if any nearby monster camps are available, and spots Ringo and Arden in the middle of taking Gold Oak. She waits for the right moment before leaping in with her Sacred Grove perk and steals it away easily. However, she's in a bit of trouble now that she's in a 2v1 situation. Fortunately for her, there's a Treant nearby. She leaps towards it and narrowly avoids Arden's gauntlet and then activates Nature's Wrath. However, Arden also uses his War Treads, and with the two enemies on her heels, she quickly reactivates the ultimate to dash over the wall into Blackclaw's pit. Thanks to her unparalleled mobility in the jungle, she makes it out safely and with a little extra gold in her pockets. Thanks for watching the Vainglory Hero Spotlight. Inara will be arriving in Update 3.8 with the new Nightblade skin, so be sure to give her a try.
All right, so that's Inara. Definitely an incredibly strong jungler right now. I've seen it a little bit top lane as well, but honestly, we haven't seen it in pro play. So who knows where this is going to go?
Nobody knows, really. I think it's super exciting, a bit of a wild card that we throw into the mix, and honestly, just who knows what it could do to the rosters that these guys have drafted. You know, they think they got that strong jungler. They get, you know, side struck by Inara. Yeah. You never know what could happen.
Definitely a pocket pick. I mean, I want to pass this over to you guys. What do you think? Oh, so we're just going to talk about Inara here for a second. But yeah, definitely jungler, incredibly strong so far. It's been dominant in solo queue, but one of the big things I think is the fact that this could be a ban taken away from everything else. So it's not just the strength of Inara as a pick on her own. It's also the strength that something else has to get through the draft now.
Absolutely, and like we always see this happen. I think it's gonna rapidly evolve. Like, yeah, maybe there's not a super strong meta set right now. It's like a little bit variable, but yeah, what gets through is that really key question. And like, you know, what shuts down the Inara if she does get through as well? A lot of questions to be answered.
Yeah, that's one of the difficult things. Anytime a new hero comes in, that's always going to be a big question: is how do you play around this? How do you?
She's no Ozo, I don't think, but you know.
Well, nobody's quite Ozo, but that's for a different reason than just power picks. But we're going to be kicking off round 4 of the draft in just a minute. Welcome back to the beautiful city of Las Vegas, Nevada, where we are kicking off the VPL Fantasy All-Stars week number 2. We are halfway through our draft already. 3 players have been picked up by each of our captains, and we're ready to kick off round number 4, which means, Evil, you're going to be the next one to pick. You were the last one to pick. It is a snake draft, So you're going to be on the clock once more. Now let's talk about the rosters so far. Let's talk about how you guys feel this has been going. Because, I mean, let's start off by talking about Gabe Vizzle's roster here, because Old School, TiVo, and Shaded Talent, that is a stacked lineup. Gabe, you got to be happy with what you got so far.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy about the lineup that I chose. Yeah, like I said, the Shaded pickup was, I think it was pretty clutch. I can do two things with him, bench or like have him play, and I go top. So yeah, just like I said, I think it's going to be hard to find a top laner now. So I think that's what I had to do pretty much, just pick Shaded up, and then along with Old School and TiVo, I think we have a pretty good team.
All right, I mean, out of the other three of you, do you guys feel confident? You feeling strong? I mean, Evil, we've not really talked about your roster so far. Kaz, Chuck, and Outplayed, three pretty strong individual players yourself.
Yeah. I think Kaz is always going to be that competitive player who wants to win. And like I said before about Chuck's ego, it also kind of forces him to want to win. And it's like my picks are risky, but at the same time, it has a really high like beneficial like element to it, because if Louis plays how I know he can play, I mean most of the time or sometimes he doesn't play how he's supposed to play, but when he does, there's times where he actually has like moments of greatness, but it's just a matter of figuring that out. And since I have played with him, I feel like I know how to bring that out for him, and that'll help like ultimately my team in general. So feeling pretty good.
It's almost like a little bit of like a dark horse team over here.
Yeah.
Like you know that they have the capabilities. They obviously have to strategize it, but you have like an incredible captain at the helm, so I think they can do it.
It definitely feels like a team leader vibe coming out from you, Evil. I want to talk about your roster as well, Hammy, because when you talk about Dark Horse roster, you've got a completely different route to how everyone else has been playing so far.
Yeah, so like we've gone over a lot, my roster is really basically just solo queue players. Like, that's kind of just what I went for, because I don't know, I just feel like if you just win your lanes, then you just win the game. Like, and especially with how good all these players are, that I know, like, I literally just don't have to worry about anything. There's no stress, for, oh, my team's not gonna win their lane. It's just like, okay, I can just focus on myself, and I'll have my best performance I can have. So like, I'm feeling good. The other rosters, I think Gabe's probably gonna be our biggest challenge so far. Evol's roster is kind of questionable, if I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I would have gone for either the Chuck or the Louis pick. I think those bring your win down at least 60%, just off the bat. Like,
I mean, that's true.
I mean, that's like Chuck's if Chuck had a heroic perk, it would be bring his team's win rate down. So yeah, I mean.
That's a creative name for a heroic pick.
Yeah.
I like that. So on the opposite side of that, though, you guys have kind of gone for different Dark Horse strategies. You've played it very safe so far, starting all over. Now you're going to have to kind of branch out a little bit. What is the play going to be, or what's the play style going to be? Are you guys just going to be sticking as a unit, you and the Nova boys, and then see what everyone else does?
We'll see. I don't want to reveal too much, but I like my lineup so far. I know these players, so I think we have a high chance of winning than these guys.
What do you think of the other rosters that have been coming in? Are they going to be a challenge?
I think Gabe's team is like the one I'm worried about. Like the rest are randoms. I don't even know who they are.
Wow.
But with like Shaded and Gabe in the same team, like I feel like that's a waste of a pick. But if Gabe didn't pick Shaded, I would have taken him.
Yeah.
So that's like a clutch pick from Gabe. But if Gabe were supposed to play top lane, then it'll be a lot easier for whoever I'm gonna pick for my bot lane.
And you feel like there's enough in the pool where you're going to be able to get that pick that you want?
I actually don't know who plays bot lane. That's like the issue here.
You could pick up a good player like Blanks.
He is the best player in the world.
No.
I actually think Blanks is a pretty good player. All right, well, we'll return to the conversation on Blanks, because there's more to talk about that. But Evol, you're under a minute now, so you ready to lock in your fourth pick?
Yeah, I'd say I'm ready to lock in my fourth pick. I mean, I'm pretty much forced to pick a top laner. So, I mean, since there's only a couple of top laners left, I will be choosing Neon Fire.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
Takes the last one left. That one last week.
That totally makes sense. But a lot of people not talking about Neon Fire. Is there a reason for that? Because I've always respected him, like just from like a caster perspective. It seems like he's always making plays.
Yeah, well, I think one of the reasons why there are a couple players that don't really get the spotlight that they deserve is because people are so focused on their mid laner and their their bot laner. They're like, okay, do we have a good mid laner? Do we have a good bot laner? They never really care about what the top laner is doing. And so there's a lot of top laners actually really good, but they never get the recognition. And it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So.
Is that because it's just like the survival
Yeah,
mode
it's
for
that lane where you're just like, okay, like just defend the turret for as long as possible. It's going to go down, but if you can just delay it by like a couple waves or a couple minutes, then that's what you got to do. So yeah, it's definitely that role.
All right, so nice. That's going to be the 4th pick locked in for Evil, which means, Hammy, you are on the clock. Your time has already begun, so start to peruse that list. But I want to have kind of a bit of a recap of how this has been going. And we can take a look at Evil's roster, which is now technically a complete roster. There's enough players now to play a game. You're going to obviously have that 5th pick available as a substitute or maybe to bring him in. But how confident are you now? Like, talk to me, where are these players going to be playing? Like, what's the strategy moving in now?
I'm actually pretty confident with my team. Like Chuck, like I said, he's always going to be consistent, and I'm always going to be on my A game. So when we're playing in mid, it's going to be a pretty like dynamic duo, and I feel like we're going to be able to actually like steamroll whoever's playing mid. And so that alone is really good. And then the fact that I have like a risky player with Louis, where if it pans out how I'm expecting it to, then my team's gonna be dominant. And then I already have Kaz, who's just a mechanically just brilliant player. So like I'm excited.
Hammy, you look like you disagree with some of the stuff he said there.
You know, I just don't see Chuck dominating mid lane in any world. You know, he's pretty consistent, but he doesn't try to do anything. He does what he needs to do to get CS. He doesn't make really mistakes. Okay, you can give it that. He doesn't go do, but he also doesn't really make anything happen.
But the thing is that if I'm supporting him, I could tell him like, hey, you need to do this, and then
that's true.
He's forced to do it.
Yeah, but Chuck's ego
yeah, but I will literally hold his ego against him and say that if he doesn't do what I tell him to do,
you have outplayed.
That's true, but I can tell. I'm gonna be Chuck calling. I'm gonna be telling Chuck what he's gonna be able to play how he wants to play.
You can't make Louis have better mechanics.
No, but the thing is, Louis has mechanics. He's just super inconsistent. So if I could bring out that consistency, then he will play well. But it's like flipping a coin.
All
so.
right.
No, but I'd rather have Chuck, who doesn't die in lane, than a person who let's see, who you guys have. Like someone who dies in lane a lot. You rather have the person who can carry you to the late game, right? And Chuck is that player, right?
Yeah.
And then also with Lulu, not Lulu. What is it? Louis. Louis will be good to carry late game if he's fed enough. So if Evil gets his team to the late game and everyone is fed, then I think his team will be really good.
All right, we'll see if that's going to be the case. Now, let's take a look at the remaining players on the board, because we're starting to run out of those top major players that we see on the pro teams, and we're starting to move to the right-hand side of the board. But these guys, definitely a lot of them, still very strong players in their own right. And we actually spoke to Chamu leading on into this week to see why he's a player that should be picked up in our Razor phone.
What is going on, guys? It's your boy Chamu coming to you live from beautiful Southern California. Really quickly, I just want to list off some of the reasons as to why one of the 4 captains should draft me, or in other words, should pick me to be on their team. So, reason number 1, because I'm OP. Oh, that's it.
All right, so his one reason is he's OP, which that's a pretty decent reason. I'd say that's a good reason to pick someone up. I mean, is Chamu the guy you're looking at next, Hammy?
I mean, he is one of my only options because I have to pick a support, so I'm kind of pigeonholed into picking either him or one of these other guys that I have no clue who they are necessarily. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely an option for me.
Someone on the list. Well, we are about ready for your pick. You got 1 minute and 10 left on the clock, so if you're ready to lock in, we're ready for you to make that pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Chamu.
Awesome.
Nice.
So, Chamu.
Biased by the video?
Perfect.
Good
You're OP?
pick.
Sold.
Dude, I just want his clout on
Second
his
to
YouTube.
last pick for him.
Cool. I mean,
Nice,
that's a roster right there.
It is, and that means that starting all over, you are now on the clock for your 4th pick. So get thinking about that one. Let's talk a bit about Chamu then as a player, because he's someone we've not really talked about in this draft so far. As a captain, what stands him out from the crowd? Because he was on Team Ferox as well.
Yeah, so I've played against him for a while. I don't necessarily need some crazy good support. I just know he does what he needs to do in order for me to win. So he can block stuff, he hits his abilities, which is basically all I need from a captain, and I think he basically just does everything you need to do as a support, so yeah, I'm not worried about it at all.
And you see Arden, his most played hero. I think that's consistent across a lot of captains, that Arden is the most played. I think just such a strong hero in basically every meta.
I love Arden as a captain because like he brings so many of the things to the table that you really want. Like you hear people talk about like, oh, I want like a stun on my carry, but then you think about your captain, you want a stun. I want something that can help me survive, something that can get him into position. He has like all of those tools in his kit, so I really love that. It's great to see, and like Jama, honestly, pretty good stats, sitting at 19 in the ESP ranking.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've seen him play Churnwalker as well, which very strong right now. I mean, Churnwalker's basically always been very strong since he came out, but we'll see if that's going to be a powerful pick for your lineup, Hammy. So, bit of a recap on your roster so far, because you have a full squad. Are you happy with how this has turned out compared to the other rosters?
Yeah, so, I mean, I feel so good. Like, I literally have all my picks that I wanted except for one. So, like, I didn't have Shade, that's it. So, like, I have exactly what I wanted, so I couldn't be feeling any better than I am.
So just the captain, everything else absolutely perfect. So good to hear from you. We'll see if this is going to work out for you. Obviously, week 1 winner. We'll see if we can turn it into week 2 as well. I'm going to pass it over to Karina once again as we have more questions from Twitter.
Yeah, we got Skull Hunters asking, how did you guys get into Vainglory? Did a friend recommend it to you, or did you get in some other way? Hammy, do you want to take this away?
Yeah, so basically how I started playing Vainglory was my friend. Well, actually, he was a foreign exchange student from Vietnam. He was playing it. You know, at the time, I always thought mobile games were a meme. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this game this guy's playing? But eventually, when I was sick for a while, you know, I was stuck in bed, so I like picked it up just for fun to play against him, and I ended up actually falling in love with it, and I just, you know, it's just history from there. Just played it all day ever since.
Oh, that's good to hear. I mean, what about you other guys? What?
So my story my origins with Vainglory was I went through like a really, really rough patch my senior year of high school, and I was trying to figure out ways to cope because I was like, all right, well, I can't keep my mind off of all these things, so I need to find something that I'm going to enjoy. So my brother actually, he introduced me to the game a little bit before, and I was like, this game's terrible. Like, this is horrible. I don't want to play this. And then as soon as all this, like, I needed to cope, so I was like, all right, well, I'll give this game a shot. And then that just literally just transformed me into playing the game for like 13, 14 hours a day, and that's also one of the reasons why I was able to come up so fast, is because I played it nonstop.
I mean, we'll just move along the table as well. Starting, what got you into Vainglory?
Well, I was 11 years old, right? I'm 15 right now, so it was like 4 years ago. I went to a friend's house. I didn't have a computer, so I played games like League of Legends in his computer, and I wasn't able to go there very often, so like I told him if there's like any games on my phone or iPad that he could like similar to like a MOBA kind of area, and then he told me about Vainglory, and then I was like actually laughing about how Kasia like was like walking before because it was like hella weird, and like I played the game at home, and like from there I think I played the game 8 hours a day every day in middle school, like 6th grade, 7th.
I mean, it shows at the end of the day. It shows that you play a lot of the game. And finally, we'll pass it over to you as well, Gabe. How did you get started in Vainglory?
Yeah, it's not as interesting as these other guys. I pretty much watch all of the Apple keynotes. So there was one keynote that they introduced this game called Infinity Blade. And I tried that out. I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. So next year's keynote, they showed off Vainglory, and then they showed off an ad with Jimmy Fallon in it as well. So just pretty much, I gave it a shot. I was like, I've never played a MOBA before in my life, and I just kind of got hooked onto it because it's just fun to play.
I mean, absolutely. I think everyone involved in this is hooked, absolutely. So
Yeah.
it's good to hear. So you got 20 seconds on the clock starting, so I'm going to put the spotlight on you. Who are you looking at your next pick?
I'm looking at Mixi or what's his name, Rock Bomber. I don't really know like who
10
else volumes
seconds.
here that's like decent, so I think I'm gonna have to go with Mixi.
Final answer?
Yeah.
All right, Mixi
Nice.
makes the board for starting.
I'm glad to see Mixi get picked up.
There we go.
Absolutely. And that means, Gabe, you are on the clock once again. Mixi locked in, kind of an old school player. We're going to revisit that pick in a second. Before we do, I just want to ask you, Humanist, how did you get into Vainglory?
Nobody cares how I got into Vainglory.
I care, Humanist.
Honestly, no, it's super cool. Like I always loved hearing like how people got into it because that's like one of the most interesting things like about a player's history. But for me, I've been a Dota player. I don't know if you guys know Dota, one of like the original MOBA. Yeah. So I started playing Dota back in like 2004. And it's been one of my favorite games ever since. Love the MOBA genre. But obviously, like back then, you had those phones where like you'd like press like 1 for like A, press it twice to get to B, like press it 3 times to get to C. I don't even think it had like the Snake game on those phones. So like as technology progressed, like I was like, wait a second, there might be a MOBA I can get on one of my mobile devices, and I checked them out. Vainglory was my favorite, and I think it was the graphics. Like immediately, I was like, these graphics are absolutely nuts. And believe it or not, like 2.5 weeks after I started playing Vainglory, and I was into the game, I saw a posting online. VGL was looking for casters, and I was like, just weird coincidence. Showed him my reel, and here we are.
All right, well, here we are indeed. And then you turned it into a career, so good job.
Just like that.
Just like that, magic. So let's revisit the pick that we just saw from Starting All Over. Mixi locked in here, player for Hammers, and very much an old school player when it comes to Vainglory. Talk to me about that lock-in there on Mixi.
I just don't know who else to pick besides Mixi, and I think like Mixi, I used to like look up to him as a laner back in 2015, back in the old school days with like Call the Meek and etc. Mixi is a top laner. I would consider him in like more of a weapon area. So I think for bot lane, he's like the perfect pick for me.
All right, so just a very solid laner to go with, and you know, someone that has been around the scene a long time. I mean, you know Mixi from back in the day.
Yeah, Mixi, I mean, he's always been one of my favorite players. I mean, I think like his arc of what he was like achieving on his teams did kind of drop down, but like him as a player, I think he's been consistent. He's always been one of the nicest and like most respectful players out there as well. So like I give him a lot of credit for that as well, and I think he's going to add to any team that he's actually picked up on.
I definitely think that's going to be the case. I'm going to pass it once again back over to you, Gabe Vizzle, because your time is counting down. You've got 40 seconds to make your 4th pick.
For me, I'm either looking for a top laner or a jungler, and I think I'm leaning more towards the jungler side, so I'm going to pick up Papa John because he is a jungler, and I think he could fit this team well.
Nice.
Awesome. So Gabe Vizzle's adding Papa John to his roster.
All right, so that
One more pick.
Yeah, that is going to conclude round 4. So Gabe, you will be the next pick as well, but before we jump into your pick, a quick word from Razor. All right, now don't forget, you guys at home can get involved and watch and win yourselves. There is 25,000 ice being given away every single weekend, 5,000 per winner. We have $500 being given away every single week, as well as a whole bunch of Vainglory. So I've got plushies, t-shirts, bags, stickers, you name it, we've got it. So make sure you're keeping your eyes peeled on that Twitch chat. And we actually have one going on right now. If you get involved in the Twitch chat, there is $100 in a gift card being given away right now. Exclamation point giveaway, I believe, is the command. We're currently in Gabe Vizzle's next pick, but before we find out who he's going to go with, I'm going to pass it over to Humanist in the Tri-Studio, who's standing by with Hammy.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm over here. I pulled Hammy to the side just so we could kind of pick his mind a little bit, see if maybe we can get some information he wasn't able to reveal at the desk with everybody around. Hamuel, my man, how are you feeling about this draft? Are you feeling strong?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm feeling super strong. You know, I feel like there's kind of two ways this tournament goes. I feel like either it's just going to be like we're just going to snowball everywhere and just win, or it's going to end up being my team versus Gabe's, and it's going to be like a pretty hard
Then you guys
final
sweat?
against him. Yeah, it's going to be very sweaty in the finals for sure.
Cool. So, I mean, you got a few of the players that everybody was talking about, like, and I thought it was interesting. You're in that third position, like on the draft, and Snake's back. You're in position number 2. So you got Yugi, Lulu to start. Who else did you get to round out the lineup?
Yugi, Lulu. I also got Archaic and Shamu.
Oh, that's right. And Chamu was one of your last picks. So you do have a player for every single position right here, right?
Yes, I do. Yep, I'm all set up and ready to go.
If you had to guess, are you going to win this tournament?
Yeah, I'm very confident in winning for sure.
So you'd be winning week 1, week 2.
And I'm going to be winning week 3 and week 4.
That's cash money. That's like the more money you get, like the stronger you get as a player. Does it work that way?
I mean, I hope so. I mean, I'm looking forward to it to see what happens, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Cool, man. Well, you still have one more pick. Is there anyone that does jump out to you that's still on the board?
When it comes to, since this is going to be a hero, I mean a player that's just going to be a sub role, I don't really need anybody necessarily. Like I already have my starting roster locked in, and I'm probably not going to end up using my sub. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really care. I don't have anybody specific really in mind for a sub.
You had one of the most interesting drafts, right? Because if we looked at the rankings, one of your first picks was Lulu, right? And he was down at, I think, number 21 on the ESP rankings.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about this draft process? And do you think you caught everybody by surprise grabbing that draft?
I'd say maybe I caught the people by surprise that aren't as much in touch with who like the super skilled players. I might have caught them off guard, but I think all the captains and a lot of the top tier players know that the players I picked are super good, especially for this scenario. So yeah, like 100%.
And as far as like the draft process itself, like this kind of snake draft, how does that play into this? Like, do you feel comfortable with that draft? Did it make you a little like? Did you like kind of mind game it a little bit,
like,
practice it?
You know, I like trying to make it sound like I wanted somebody, you know, and then not take them. You know, it's kind of a mind game with all the captains. You know? Like they all want you to think they're gonna do something. Like before, you know, we're all gonna say we all said our first picks, and we ended up picking, you know, like just back, you know, before the show started, and we were like, oh, we're gonna pick these guys first, and then none of them ended up picking.
Everybody was doing that.
So it's like, I think there is a lot of strategy actually goes into snake draft in terms of getting in your opponent's head, and also just having smart players that you know you can get that might not be, you know, ranked top, you know, on the first column here, but and you
Excellent.
can, so that's 100%.
All right, my man. Thank you so much for the information, breaking it down. Let's go ahead and throw it back over to Munchables.
Thank you very much, Humanist. All right, so we are getting towards the end of the drafts here. We have 20 seconds left for Gabe Bizzle, so I'm going to pass it straight over to make your pick.
I'm going to go ahead and pick Level.
Okay. Gabe Bizzle is finishing off his lineup with Level.
All right, so the first pick of round 5. That is going to be the last pick for Gabe Bizzle, which means starting, you are going to be on the clock. So your 5 minutes has begun. But I want to pass it back over to you, Gabe Bizzle. Talk to me about that Level pick.
So, first of all, he made a video, so I respect that. And, you know, there's not that many people left anymore. So it's more of possibly being the sub pick. And, you know, if Papa John doesn't work out, let's say, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out, I could just be like, all right, Level, you're in, and then we'll just test that out. But for the most part, he's just there to be a part of the team, and yeah.
And I mean, he was saying in the video as well that, you know, he knows that he's not absolutely one of the top names right now, but he wants to prove himself and he wants to make that the case. So I'm excited to see what he might be able to bring to the table if you do bring him in. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Ivor? Because I know you were talking about, you know, when you're a newer player trying to get into the scene, it's all about trying to break through and trying to make it for yourself.
Yeah. I really like that some players do decide to take that route and try to reach out towards other pro players, because there's this thing with the majority of pro players where they like to stay in their group, stay with their clique, and not really branch out to other people. The only time they'll ever play with someone else is if they need like a fifth or something, like, all right, let's just pick up this random. But it's really good that he's doing that because it shows that he's hungry, it shows that he wants to be able to compete at the highest levels, and it's good that you do that.
Level at the highest level. All right, we'll see. We'll see if that's going to happen here. So, welcome back, Hammy, as always. So, we are now 3 minutes and 30 left on Starting All Over's final pick. I'm going to let you peruse for now, starting. We'll come back to you in a minute. Hammy, we've just seen level locked in there for Gabe Vizzle. What do you make of that pick?
You know, I think it's a good pick. I think it's always it's fair to give someone a chance. You know, everybody deserves a chance. You know, we all have to start somewhere. So, you know. I actually started playing with Evol. That's kind of how I started first playing with Evol. Like, I was friends with Stormy Cross, and then, you know, we hooked together, and we just grinded, like, all the time. Like, I didn't know who Evol was. Evol didn't know who I was. We were both just guys wanted to grind the leaderboards, and, well, not the leaderboards at the time, but just grind ranked. And so that's what we did, and that's how we got started.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we can take a look at Starting All Over's roster so far. And I want to ask you, starting, like, where are you leaning with this final pick? Because, you know, you've already got 5 players now. This is kind of a wild card, a bit of a substitute. Is there a hole that needs filling in this roster right now?
Not really. For my last pick, I think it'll just be like a counter pick or like a backup plan in case anything goes wrong with my roster. And yeah.
So I don't want to like bias any of these picks here, but like I've been holding my tongue on this one, and one player that nobody has mentioned thus far, but I think a player that deserves some respect, and not a player that because we know his name. It's one of these guys, right? Tony's. And I know people were talking about captains, and you know, we kind of went past like the captain conversation really early on. But if you guys were to look up his rankings, like he's beating all of these top players, like from 1 to 8. If you went to look at his VG Pro, he's like consistently beating these players in solo queue matches.
I mean, what do you guys say to that? Like when a player in solo queue is dominating, is that something that you guys immediately think that, okay, now he's a contender?
I think it really depends on if they play 5-man or if they actually play solo. Because there's a lot of the times where you can just play as a 5-man. You won't, and it'll be really easy to grind elo and get to the top. So you'd have to really check to see if he's doing solo queue, if he's doing 5-mans, if he's doing duo, or if he's even playing at primetime hours where all the other pros are playing. But that being said, I think that, I mean, it goes without showing that if he is number 2, he must be good. So.
And his Finn, I have to say, when you look at his KDA, it's a clean Finn as well. I was looking at his VG Pro. He doesn't die a lot. So
Finn will win.
I'm excited to see if that could be a pick we'll see here today. But Starting All Over, you've got a minute left on the clock for your final pick of the draft. Where are you going to be leaning?
I think I'm going to have to go with Tony, because, like, what do you call it? Like, Eddie is a top-tier support player, but he's not really the type of player that plays support heroes in, like, Finn, example, or any slow carries or support. So I think I'm going to go with Tony.
All right,
Nice.
so he's taking the advice.
Got him.
Final pick. Tony's. We're starting.
So there it is, 5th lock-in there for Starting All Over, which means, Hammy, you are going to be on the clock once again. So you were responding pretty positively there. You got your boy Tony's in.
I mean, I just think it's really cool. You have these players that it feels like, you know, they've put in the work. These guys have talked about sometimes you get your break, and who knows? Like, maybe Starting had this idea of how he's going to swap out, get this lineup, but this is like a very strong backup for him. And who knows how, like, maybe one of his games is going to go. He gets subbed in. Tony makes some plays, maybe some force to cord over the wall into a stun. Like, you never know. And suddenly, this is like a household name.
Yeah, I mean, good Finn players can absolutely tear a game apart.
I'm a little biased towards Finn, too.
Yeah,
to be real.
I mean, Finn, especially on 5v5 with the Rivers, can be exceptionally strong. So there's only 2 picks remaining in the whole draft, gentlemen. How are we feeling? I mean, I want to revisit you over there, Gabe. You've got your complete roster now locked in. Are you feeling confident based on what you've got versus everyone else?
Yeah, I'm feeling very confident with the lineup that we have here. Just a lot of known players. We have a little bit of Vision. We have a little bit of, what is it, Hammers and
Nova.
And Nova?
And Ferox.
Yeah.
And Ferox?
Yeah, you got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I got a little bit of everything, so I'm feeling confident.
All right, now there is a player still remaining on the board that I want to talk about a little bit here. His name is Rock Bomber, and we have a clip of him during the Summer Open. He was playing with Vegetable Juice, and in one of the, he's playing with Ferric, sorry, and in a game against Hammers, actually pretty much saved the day on his Rona. They were pretty much down and out, and he single-handedly came in on Rona and just did absolute work, grabbing himself a triple kill. Is this a guy that you guys are looking towards? Is he a carry that could fulfill that spot? Number 13 on the board there.
Rock Bomber he's pretty, like, he's definitely a one-trick type of player. He gets good at literally one thing. Everything else is like, you know, just average at. But when he focuses on one hero, he actually gets really good. So during 3v3, I know he was like a Rona. All he played was Rona. But I'm pretty sure now he's just playing Varia. So he's that one. I don't know if he's necessarily a good pick in a scenario like this because he can only, you know,
surely that makes him a two-pick
one.
now.
Okay, yeah, maybe, but Rona's not the best pick.
Yeah, but I mean, if he plays Varia and he plays Rona as his 2-1 tricks, that's two different carry regions. One's mid, one's bot, one's mid, one's bot. So it's kind of, you'd have to really switch up your roster if you wanted to play a different champion for him.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Humanist? Do you think that one trick's just not going to be available? I mean, taking a look at Hammy's roster here, do you think that would fit in?
I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because like, you wouldn't know until your actual draft is going. If the draft makes sense and you're like, oh, well, we should have had our one trick in because this is a great Rona game. Like, but you don't know that before it actually kicks off. But I think, like, you know, Starting mentioned before, like, he does prefer a player that specializes in a small pool of heroes, because then you know all of the intricacies, the ins and outs, how far you can push the limit. So it would bring that to the table for those couple of picks, but it does kind of limit what you can draft overall.
All right, well, we'll see if he's going to be one of those last two picks available on the board. Now, we are starting to get towards the end of things. Hammy, you've still got just over a minute, so continue to think. I want to revisit you Starting. You have your full roster locked in here. I want to talk about Tony's, Mixi, Gatsby, these guys that you picked up after your teammates. Is Tony's just going to be your substitute here, or is there room to maneuver?
I love Finn as like a support hero, and like we won VPL Summer Open with only playing Finn, literally from 0 to like finals or whatever. And like when I play mid and I have a Finn, I just feel confident that I'm gonna win lane regardless of like everything.
I mean, what is it about Finn that makes you like? What does he bring to the table that other captains don't?
I play aggressive mid lane, right? So mostly like I would tank everything, but if I have a Finn in front of me, they'll be forced to back off, and like the enemy will be just scared to play against me.
So you just need a meat shield on your team
Yeah.
to soak up some of that damage. I like it. All right. Well, Hammy, you're under a minute, so it's about time that we get your final lock-in of the draft.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to end up here picking Rock Bomber because he is a teammate with two of the players I already have on my team. So I think that would be a good vibe to have in the Discord. Have a little bit of fun.
Did I convince you to do that?
No.
Is that my video?
Okay.
All right.
It's all the plan, dude. Come on.
All right, so Hammy's picking up Rock Bomber for his final player.
There we have it. So Hammy's going to lock in Rock Bomber, which means the final pick is going to be all on you, Evol. You're on the clock now. So Rock Bomber, I'm going to ask the same question I just asked against Starting there. Is he going to be just a substitute, or you looking at finding ways to bring him into the fold?
I mean, most likely he's definitely probably just going to be a substitute unless someone doesn't show up. I mean, I think that's probably the only scenario he'll end up playing. So yeah, I mean, he's probably not going to play.
Okay, so just going for that sixth man just for emergency situations. So.
I'm actually like more curious about with Evil, not as much as like who he picks, but like whose heart he breaks. You're gonna have 4 feels Batmans over here. Like, will they tweet and say my heart is broken? Is Evil not my favorite player anymore? Like what's gonna happen? Whatever the case, like it obviously matters like what you draft for your team. But I would think it's always interesting to see.
I'm already prepared to get a bunch of Twitter DMs from some of these players like, oh wow, why didn't you pick me?
Like reminds me of my childhood.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Just like Dodgeball. Yeah. So I'm actually going to pass it over to Karina once again. We've had people at home getting involved in the conversation.
Yes,
What
we
you got
have,
for
and we
us?
have some people that are really excited to see Evil back. We have Corrupted 2048 saying, "Evil's competing. I'm so ready for this. Let's cheer for Evil."
Is that a question?
It's not a question.
It's a statement.
Well, Evil is competing, question mark. That's sort of a question. I mean, what do you say to that, Evil?
Well, first off, Corrupted, Awesome Lame, and Melodium, and also Evergreen. They were the main people that really gave me like the most support out of like anybody in the community. They've always like been with me. They've been with me through my ups, my downs. Like even when I stopped playing for a bit, I was like, okay, they're still here. It's just weird. So the continuous support that I get from like people like in social media or just people in general is always like so appreciated. And there's really like not much you can really like say about, because it makes you kind of speechless, because you're just like, why is this guy, why are they supporting me like this? Because I'm just an everyday average person. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. That's a heartwarming story to hear. And, hopefully they'll continue to support you across the course of the weekend, because you're going to have some games coming up very shortly tomorrow. Let's take a look at what is remaining on the board, though. There are 5 players left available for you to pick Evol. We've got Adapt from Hammers, we've got Blanks from Vegetable Juice, Moji from Ferox, Deceive1, who was one of our guys that finished second last week, and then we have Fez from Vegetable Juice as well. Humanist, looking at these 5 players, who's the biggest one on in your radar?
Honestly, at this point, I think we just pick one. Like they're like, like no shade. Honestly, like these are good players, but I think you've kind of we've whittled it down to a pool of players that kind of exist in this realm of like, they just are about the same level, and that's not anything to be ashamed of. It's just where you are. So for like Evil, he's got a strong lineup. He's got people that can play in every single position. So it's just kind of like who he wants to bring onto the squad here as maybe just a backup in case like he breaks his iPad earlier in the morning or whatever else he does. You know what I mean?
I mean, what about? I want to talk about Blanks specifically for a second, because Blanks actually had a pretty good performance during the Summer Open. He played on Vegetable Juice, and his Baron was actually pretty good. I mean, is that something that you guys agree with? Because I feel like you're all sniggering behind me. Like, I felt like Blanks is a pretty great carry.
I think Blanks is trash, period.
So not bothering.
All right, well, this is a replay of him getting a triple kill, but talk to me starting all over. Like, give me some clarification on why that is the case.
All right, it was like a while back, but when Nova like barely played the game and we were scrimming their team, he was like bragging about how they were beating us in scrims. He went like 12-0, and then when it comes to actual competitive, he went like 0-9 against us, and yeah, he just can't back up his words,
All right, I kind of remember that Twitter beef actually, so maybe some feelings remaining from previous conversations there, but. We are under a minute, Evol, which means it is time to get your final pick. Not just your final pick of the whole draft. Evol, where are you going to go with this one?
All right. Well, because I actually am able to play top, just to like throw that out there, I can play top if I need to. So what I was thinking about doing is picking a support. And since there's only 2 supports available, I'm like, okay, well, who am I gonna give the shot for? Because if they're gonna play, like I want to give people fair chances. Like if I'm not gonna make it into the final day, then I want them to play. I want them to see. I want to see what they can do. And so tie between either Deceived or Adapt, and. My pick is I'm gonna try out Deceived, because I don't think I've ever played with him before, and I think that it would just be nice, because I've played with Adapt before, and yeah.
Cool.
All right,
So,
trying something new with Deceived one for Evil.
there it is. So Deceived making it into Rip Adapt. Yeah, that is going to be the second week in a row though that Deceived makes it onto these rosters. Now we're going to break this down properly in just a minute's time, but first a word from